In August 1971, a psychologist named Philip Zimbardo placed an ad in a Palo Alto newspaper. He needed volunteers for a study. The pay was $15 a day. The study would last 2 weeks. All he needed were healthy, normal, psychologically stable young men. 75 people applied. He selected 24. He gave half of them uniforms, whistles, and mirrored sunglasses. He gave the other half a number, a chain on their ankle, and a smock to wear. Then he put them in a basement. It took 6 hours for the first abuse to begin. The guards, normal college students 2 days earlier, began waking prisoners in the middle of the night for roll calls that served no purpose. They made them do push-ups on cold concrete. They took away their mattresses. They confiscated their food. Nobody told them to do any of this. Nobody gave them a script. They invented it themselves. By day 2, the prisoners revolted. They barricaded their cells with beds. The guards responded by stripping them, spraying them with fire extinguishers, and placing the ringleaders in solitary confinement, a closet barely large enough to stand in. By day 3, one prisoner began screaming uncontrollably. He couldn't stop crying. He couldn't breathe properly. Zimbardo's team looked at him and thought he was faking. He was not faking. They sent him home. By day 5, a new prisoner was brought in as a replacement. He looked around at what was happening and immediately went on hunger strike in protest. The guards forced the other prisoners to choose, give up their blankets, or the new prisoner stays in solitary all night. Almost all of them gave up their blankets. They had stopped seeing themselves as volunteers in an experiment. They had become prisoners. And the guards had become guards. Zimbardo himself had become the prison superintendent. When a rumor reached him that the prisoners were planning a mass escape, he didn't think, "This is an experiment, I should observe." He called the Palo Alto Police Department to ask if he could transfer his prisoners to a real jail for safekeeping. They said no. He was annoyed. He had forgotten he was a scientist. The experiment was supposed to run 14 days. A colleague visited on day 6, looked at what was happening, and asked Zimbardo a simple question. She said, "Why are you continuing this?" He stopped it the next morning. Here's what the Stanford prison experiment actually proved. Not that humans are evil, not that given power, everyone becomes a monster. What it proved was something quieter and more disturbing than that. It proved that identity is not fixed. Within days, not years, not decades, days, ordinary people restructured their entire sense of who they were around a role they had been assigned by a stranger with a newspaper ad. The guards did not become cruel because they were cruel people. They became cruel because the situation made cruelty feel normal, expected, even necessary. The uniform did it, the title did it, the architecture of the basement did it. The presence of observers who didn't intervene did it. Strip away the context, and you have 24 normal young men. Add the context back, and you have a functioning system of abuse that built itself in under a week. Zimbardo called this the Lucifer Effect, the idea that evil is not a property of bad people. It is a property of bad systems. And good people inside bad systems do not usually resist. They adapt, because adapting is what humans do. It is the thing that kept us alive for 300,000 years. The same flexibility that let your ancestors survive ice ages and famines and predators is the same flexibility that lets ordinary people do terrible things when the situation asks for it. You are not as fixed as you think you are. The situation you are in right now, the role you play at work, the hierarchy you exist inside, the norms of the group around you, is shaping you in ways you cannot see. Not because you are weak, because you are human. That is the thing the basement in Palo Alto proved. And it took 6 days.